Hello, everyone. Welcome to Miss Silly Lessons Learned. I have a very special guest with us today, Miss Jenni Caruso. I'm going to give Miss Jenni Caruso a moment to say hi to everyone. Miss Jenni Caruso, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I am a theater teacher. I've been theater teacher and head of fine arts at Salem High School for 7 years, but I've been teaching theater for 19 years and doing theater since I was 7. So a long time.
Wow, that's a long time since you were 7.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. All right, so before we get started with the question, Ms. Caruso, I am going to actually, share the slideshow with everyone to show and highlight your work in the previous years. Okay, so here we go. Let's cross our finger and hope that it works. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's see. And then let me know when you can see it.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet? Okay, let me see. Let me try that again. Okay, because let's see here. Okay, share. All right. And
there we go.
All right, let's see here where the video is, the media. There we go. All right, here we go. Can you see it now?
I can. Aww.
That's one of my favorites that you did.
That's one of my favorites too. I love that show.
Love it.
Yay.
Okay, so that's just, just briefly, the longer one, I'll put, on there as well. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back to here. All right. And then Miss Caruso, let's see here. Let me go ahead and stop sharing the screen. All right. So yeah, and that's just like basically, Miss Caruso, that's like just a glimpse of all the different, productions that you have done. So let's go ahead and go and talk about like your degree, like what degree did you get in college and where did you went and how do you end up into like, into the theater world?
So theater, I've always done theater. I actually saw an ad in the paper for an audition when I was 7 and told my mom, oh, I'm going to go do that. And she was like, okay. And then we didn't talk about it at the audition. And I was like, Mom, it's time to go. She's like, for what? I'm like, I'm auditioning for that play.
Yeah.
And so I got it in Sound of Music, and that started everything. I was in shows every summer and I did dinner theater all throughout elementary school, middle school, high school. And then I went to college. I actually went to Auburn and got a BFA in theater performance. I was their first BFA class at Auburn University. The head of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival and one of his students came and created the BFA program. So I had no intentions of teaching. I was not going to be a teacher. I was adamant that I was never going to be a teacher because my mom was a teacher. My mom taught she taught till she retired in West Virginia, moved to Dekalb County, taught for 10 more years in Dekalb County, and then retired and then subbed for another 5 years. So she taught forever. And I was like, no, that's not me. I'm not doing that. And then I ended up I became a sub just to have flexible work. And the teacher I was subbing for left. She was a theater teacher. She left and they called me and said, hey, would you like to stay? Because the kids love you and get your certification. And so I did alternative certification and got certified. And then I got I have a master's in education from Cambridge College.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Like your journey is like almost like it's meant to be, since you were, young. And you mentioned like the Shakespeare Festival. One of my friends, Julie Welch, she loves like going to Utah because they have like big Shakespearean productions. Even like famous actors would go and take part in the Shakespeare festival in the summer. Have you heard of it, Jenni?
We have a friend.
Yeah. So have you ever done any
Shakespeare Festival? A lot.
Wow.
He's a big Shakespeare guy, so he's worked there a ton.
Wow. I have never been. I only been to like like the Renaissance Festival, like in San Bernardino, and then also in Phoenix, but Jenni, have you ever actually done any Shakespearean play, produced any Shakespearean play?
I've done Romeo and Juliet. I've done Midsummer Night's Dream. I do Shakespeare with my kids all the time.
Yes.
But one of my favorite shows that we've ever done, the one that we just took one act competition by storm, was we did the complete works of Shakespeare abridged with 3 of my amazing kids, and they just killed it. They did such a good job because it has pieces and parts of all of Shakespeare's works. Now, of course, in a one act, we had to cut some of them out, but it was really, really, it was so fun and just super well done. And they came in, we had no set at all. Like usually there's usually like kind of a big set with like 3 doors, and we didn't have that. We were like, we have no budget. We're going to play up the fact that we have no budget.
Yes.
Because we're the underdogs. So our set, we took plumbing pipe.
Wow.
And made a giant clothes rack, and we took binder clips and zip tied them to the pipe. Wow. And we hung all of their costumes on the pipe, and then we had 2 garbage cans that held all the weapons, and we had 2 cubes, and that was our entire set.
Wow. You had to improvise.
The amazing thing was we won regional, and then we went to state. And when we got to state, we found out ahead of time we were competing with the same show back to back with another school. And we saw their show, like we saw pictures from their show, and they done the big set, the period costumes, all of this stuff that we didn't have. Wow. And the kids were super nervous about it. And, and we were very different, like demographically, we were very different. I just knew we were taking a different approach. So what we ended up doing was we went there, and I was like, I've got an idea, and it can either really work or really not work, but we're going to try it. So Demetrius, he's supposed to come out and be introduced as this Shakespearean scholar. So he comes out, and there's so much tension because it's the exact same show that they had just seen. And you could tell everybody was like, oh, and they have a set, like, I don't know what this is going to be. And they introduced Demetrius, and he comes out, and what I told him to say was, I just had the craziest dream. Oh, that we did this exact same show, except we were 3 white guys with a really nice set. And everybody laughed, and it broke the tension. Yeah. And then we were able to do our show. And then they came 3rd in state. They did, and we got best actor in the state. It was really awesome.
Yeah, and then speaking of Demetrius, kind of remind me, Jenny, I first met him in the hallway. He was singing, and then I was all like, "Wow, who has this beautiful voice?" And I went out and I, say hi, and I started talking to him. And you know what, I was really impressed with him actually wanting to know more, like about my culture. He asked me, "How do you say this?" I'll tell him, "Oh, this is how you say it." So speaking of Demetrius, like I know he was, he really loved theater. What is he doing now? Because a lot of your students, it seems like you, like, I don't know, like ignite some kind of, like passion for theater, and they go on to do something with it. Is that true with Demetrius and other students?
Yeah, Demetrius is right now at Georgia State. He's studying opera. He sends me like videos of his recitals and things like that. I've got several kids who are majoring in theater. I've got kids at Columbus State, kids at Kennesaw, kids at Georgia State. I've got kids kind of all over the place who are
Yeah.
doing lots of different things in the theater. And then I have kids who, they might not do it for their career, but they call me and talk about how, theater helped them with an interview or theater helped them with something else in
Yeah.
school. And so it's really cool.
Yeah, I know. Remember, Jenny, one of your students, I was doing I was on a panel for the education panel, in Kappa, and she actually sang. Remember, you recommended
Oh,
her. Yeah,
yeah.
you recommended her, and then she sang, for us and shared, her music. So I mean, you have a lot of talented students. You know,
We have phenomenal kids,
yeah.
phenomenal.
Jenny, I know our time is short, but one of the questions I want to ask you is in regards to the arts, do you feel like there's been funding cuts or there's not a lot of support, or or you think like, yeah, we have resources right now, we're okay? What's going on with the arts? We often hear that's not funding or it should be taken out of the school. What do you think?
We funding. Like at Salem, we had no budget, nothing.
Yeah.
Everything we did was based on the ticket sales for the previous show. So it makes me so upset because everything is geared towards we have to focus on academics, academics, academics. But what they don't realize is kids who are involved in theater, they are reading, they're interpreting, they are processing, they get larger vocabularies, they get higher SAT scores, they are understanding literature in a much more fundamental way, that because they're up and they're doing it and they're in it, than you often get just sitting and reading something. So much of everything has become now, read this text, answer these questions, read this text, answer these questions. And especially since, since so many things are on the computer, then it's easier. If you have 150 kids, it's easier to say, read this and then answer these questions on the computer, because the computer will grade it for you, and it helps lessen your load. And taking the arts out helps, like, takes away that additional support for the academics. Kids who do music are better in math. They're better in problem solving and critical thinking. Like, theater is art, it's science, it's engineering, it's team building, it is communication skills. Because one of the biggest things I did every year with my kids is I start with my intro kids is job interview skills.
Yes.
How to introduce yourself, how to tell your own story in a way that makes you, make that fits for whatever you're trying to get. And it's taken out. I tried for probably 4 years to get an elementary school theater program.
Yes.
Because we have middle school, we have high school, we don't have elementary school. And elementary school kids who get that theater and music and dance training, you access kids who wouldn't normally be successful.
Yes.
And if they're successful, in that, then it bleeds over into their other classes. One of my favorite stories is I had a kid when I taught Dekalb. He was special ed. He could barely read. He never spoke in class, ever. I had him from the time he was in 3rd grade. In 5th grade, we were doing A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Wow.
And he came up and he said, "Miss Caruso, I want to be Oberon." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to be Oberon." So what I did was I recorded back when you actually recorded all of his lines, what he would say. And on the other side, I recorded everybody else's lines with a space in between. He memorized every single line. He got the part. He did a phenomenal job. And it completely shifted not only how he thought about himself, but how his teachers and how his classmates thought about him, because he was this kid who never spoke, who couldn't read, and all of a sudden he's doing Shakespeare. And that could happen for so many kids, and it just makes me so angry.
Yeah. Yeah, Jenny, you know what, I'm glad you brought up, like, you know, having, like, you know, theater or the arts, and, you know, how important it is to have it in the elementary, level, because you really think about it, that's when the kids are really creative and they love to express themselves. That's where we really need to get their attention. Speaking of elementary and then, theater, Jenny, what is your plan? What's like your wish or your goal? You know, we talked about before, I know you and I had a personal conversation about, how with, homeschoolers, there's nothing really for the program. What would be your ideal situation? Like, what do you want to do next with your career?
So what I'm working on right now is creating a company called the Conyers Rockdale Creative Kids, so that we can sort of branch out into all aspects of the arts. But we're going to start with a homeschool musical theater class that happens during the day when other kids are in school. And then we want to branch out into an after school program so that we can have elementary school kids and high school kids be able to come do shows, learn how to audition, learn about technical theater and things like that. But the other thing I want to be able to do is, so many kids in Rockdale County, like, we have kids who really want to participate.
Yes.
But if you are in a program with a ton of kids, like Salem, all of my kids got to participate. We're a small program. But if 300 kids, so many kids get overlooked and they really want to do something. So I want to be able to have a place where those kids can have a place and a voice and a chance to show what they can do, because not every kid stands out at first. They may be shy. They may just not know how to approach this. But then you get, if you get that opportunity and the time to work on it, you never know what sort of talent that kids will show you.
Yeah.
And then we're also working on, it's called Theater Outside the Box for developmentally disabled teenagers, doing shows with them. So that's what I want to do. I want to create a community arts organization for Rockdale County, because we just don't have that. We just don't.
Yeah, that definitely is a great idea. And I know that you would definitely need like a lot of support for that, right, Jennifer? Because you have to find a space, right? Don't you have to find like building, you have to find money and resources. So if you have, over 300 kids that want to be involved, I mean, you're gonna need volunteers as well. I think it's gonna be a big project, but so needed. I feel like if we have those, type of activities organization, it would keep kids, out of the streets, the streets. It would keep kids motivated. It would actually give them a place, to go to, and give them something exciting.
Which is what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that.
I want to create, Theater Salem was always like a theater family.
Yes.
I'm still connected with those kids. And even when I left Salem, we had a movie night. We all went to see In the Heights. And I had kids from my very first year at Salem all the way through to kids who are still at Salem now,
Yeah.
all there together. And even the kids that didn't know, because they're all part of the same thing. And I want to create that outside of public school so that
Yes.
there's a place, because public school, it's becoming harder and harder to make that happen.
It's true.
And it, with no money and no resources and no support, there's got to be a way to make this a reality for more kids. So
Yeah.
that's what I want.
Yeah, I think I love your idea. So, if you need help, just let me know, I feel like, this is so important for your dream to come true. And it is going to take like a community effort, so, but
Yeah.
Jenni, thank you so much, for being here. And anything else what advice do you want to give kids, or what advice do you want to give administrators, or what advice you want to give other teachers in regards to like student success?
One of the biggest things that has helped me be successful is my connection with the kids. They know that I believe in them. They trust me. They know that what I say, I mean. I'm not going to say one thing and do something else. I'm not going to they always knew that no matter what, I had their back.
Yes.
And if they were doing the wrong thing, they knew I would call them out.
Yeah.
And they knew that I was going to be there. And even after graduating, I still have kids call me and text me and just say, hey, Ms. Caruso, I'm doing this, or hey, Ms. Caruso, I need a recommendation, or just wanted to tell you about my life and that sort of thing. But that's one of the biggest things. And the other thing is don't let academics get stagnant.
Yes.
The more that you can get kids up on their feet and connecting to whatever it is, to math, to language, to reading. Like I used to teach a professional development on move into reading, teaching reading and language parts of speech through dance.
Yes.
And the more that you can get, especially those kinesthetic kids who have a trouble sitting in a seat, if you can get them up and moving around and being part of the learning as a whole, and you can do it in every single subject. Just because it's science doesn't mean you can't get kids up and you can't teach, how cells split and mitosis and that sort of by having kids be a cell.
Yes.
And having them move around and splits and that sort of thing. Like you can teach electrons and neutrons, positive and negative. There's all kinds of things you can do. And just, I feel like so much because we've become so computer oriented.
Yes.
We've forgotten the kinesthetic, holistic approach to actually engaging the entire kid.
Yes.
So easy to say, here, it's on your computer, do IXL these chapters.
Yes.
And that's my biggest thing.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that, Jenni, I totally agree with you. You're the second, person that have mentioned the importance of connection to the students. That's like the key to success, right? To getting them, become actively involved. And then I also was going to say that it is obvious, Jenni, that your students love you, at Salem, it's like everything that they do it because of you, really. They want to please you, so I think you are a great role model. And I want to end it with this quote I found about theater. I don't know if you agree with me or not. So it says, but it's by Terrence Mann. And he said, movies will make you famous. television will make you rich, but theater will make you good. And I
That's
feel like you do make those kids good, in every way. So, it's an honor, to to know you. And I'm definitely going to miss, working with you. That's why I said, call on me, when you need help, with your new project. Okay.
I will.
All right. All right, guys. So that's it. That was Miss Jenni Caruso, our theater teacher. So thank you so much for being here and listening to, her interview. I hope you like, share, and also subscribe to the channel and hear more stories like this, stories about teachers in the profession, like who are passionate about their job, but more passionate about helping students succeed. Until next time, take care. Bye, everyone.